Sarah had always been the quiet one. In school, she'd sit at the back of the class, heart racing whenever the teacher looked her way. During lunch, she'd find a secluded corner, munching on her sandwich alone while watching her classmates laugh and chatter. At home, she'd retreat to her room, losing herself in books and daydreams. It wasn't that Sarah didn't want to connect with others. She longed to share her thoughts, to make friends, to be part of the vibrant world around her. But every time she opened her mouth, the words seemed to evaporate. Her throat would tighten, her palms would sweat, and she'd stumble over the simplest sentences. As Sarah grew older, her inability to communicate confidently began to shape her life in ways she never intended. She passed up opportunities for leadership roles at work, even though she had brilliant ideas. She avoided social gatherings, missing out on potential friendships and romance. Her dreams of becoming a writer remained just that, dreams, because she couldn't bring herself to share her stories with anyone. One rainy afternoon, Sarah found herself in a small, cozy bookstore. As she browsed the shelves, her eyes fell on a thin volume titled The Power of Your Voice. Intrigued, she opened it and began to read. The book spoke of the transformative power of communication, not just in career success, but in personal fulfillment and human connection. Inspired, Sarah decided to take a leap of faith. She signed up for a local public speaking workshop, her heart pounding as she clicked the register button. When the day of the first session arrived, Sarah almost talked herself out of going. But something inside her whispered, "This is your chance. Don't let fear win again." With trembling hands, Sarah pushed open the door to the community center. Inside, she found a diverse group of people, young and old, from various walks of life. Some looked confident, others as nervous as she felt. The instructor, a warm-eyed woman named Maya, welcomed everyone with a gentle smile. "Communication isn't about being the loudest in the room," Maya began. "It's about connecting, with yourself first and then with others. It's about finding the courage to share your unique perspective with the world." Over the next few weeks, Sarah learned techniques to manage her anxiety, to organize her thoughts, and to speak with authenticity. She practiced in front of mirrors, recorded herself, and gradually began to participate in group exercises. It wasn't easy. There were moments when she wanted to give up, when her old fears threatened to overwhelm her. But Sarah persevered. She found strength in the supportive community of the workshop. She drew inspiration from her classmates' stories, the retired teacher wanting to start a podcast, the shy teenager dreaming of becoming a motivational speaker, the immigrant hoping to improve his English to better provide for his family. Slowly but surely, Sarah's confidence grew. She began to volunteer answers in class. She initiated conversations with her co-workers. She even mustered the courage to read one of her short stories at a local open mic night. The turning point came when Maya asked the class to prepare a 5-minute speech on something they were passionate about. Sarah chose to speak about the power of books to change lives. As she stood in front of the group, she felt the familiar flutter of nerves. But this time, instead of letting it paralyze her, she took a deep breath and began to speak. Her voice, once a whisper, filled the room. She spoke of worlds discovered between pages, of characters who had become friends, of how books had been her refuge and her inspiration. As she talked, she saw heads nodding, eyes lighting up. She realized that her words were resonating, that she was connecting. When Sarah finished, there was a moment of silence. Then applause erupted. Maya's eyes shone with pride. "That," she said, "is the power of authentic communication." Emboldened by this success, Sarah began to push herself further. She volunteered to lead a project at work, impressing her bosses with her clear vision and ability to motivate her team. She started a book club, creating a space for fellow literature lovers to share their thoughts and feelings. She even began to write again, this time with the intention of sharing her stories with the world. But perhaps the most profound change was in Sarah's personal relationships. She opened up to her family, having deep conversations that brought them closer than ever. She made new friends and nurtured old friendships, no longer held back by fear of judgment or rejection. One day, as Sarah stood in front of a group of aspiring writers, sharing her journey from silence to self-expression, she realized how far she had come. Her voice, once trapped inside her, was now a tool for connection, inspiration, and change. Sarah's story is a reminder that effective communication is not about perfection or performance. It's about having the courage to be yourself, to share your thoughts and feelings, and to connect with others authentically. It's a skill that can be learned, practiced, and improved upon. For anyone struggling to find their voice, remember, your words have power. Your perspective is unique and valuable. The world is waiting to hear what you have to say. Start with a whisper if you must, but start. Because that whisper has the power to change everything, your life and the lives of those around you. In the end, communication is not just about talking. It's about listening, understanding, and connecting. It's about building bridges between hearts and minds. And in a world that often feels divided, there's no skill more important or transformative. So, find your voice, share your story, connect. Because when we communicate openly and authentically, we don't just change ourselves, we change the world.